Ladies and gentlemen, it is here, the first ever Westchester Tour for the In Full Stride podcast. I'm Carson Gambaro. First up, we got Wyatt Gravier, the third fastest high school high hurdler in New York State history from Bronxville. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Wyatt.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How have you been, man? It's been a few months, or a few weeks, not quite a few months.
Yeah.
It will be a few months before you're racing again in a UConn jersey, but how's life been treating you?
It's been good. It's been good to just like slow down, just like past a month and just chill out and hang out with family, friends, you know. It's been nice.
Sigh of relief perhaps from all the non-stop racing leading up to state meet?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. You know, it's been nice. It's been chill, you know. So I've been able to just relax.
What are some of your favorite pastimes outside of track and field?
You know, I love to play the drums.
Oh.
Yeah, so I love playing music and listening to music. Me and my friends, like we like to play FIFA, you know, on the Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
So like we play FIFA all the time. Yeah, and just like hang out with my friends. Yeah.
I've always wondered why more athletes weren't drummers because especially for hurdles, you think about the step pattern, the rhythm, that's so important. Even for distance runners with slower cadences, you know, you always got to love a good relaxed tempo song. What's your favorite style of music to play on the drums?
I love playing rock. Yeah, like rock. Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Some jazz in there.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
I bring that up. I'm glad you bring up rock because the day before this recording, we lost Ozzy Osbourne. So just a real heartbreak for the whole music community.
Yeah.
Did you ever attempt any of his songs on drums?
Not really, no. I'm more like Pearl Jam. I like playing Pearl Jam, their songs, and like Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes. I know the Chili Peppers, they were alongside my guy Bruno Mars at the halftime show for the Super Bowl back in 2014 when it was right near us in MetLife.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have been really clamoring for Pearl Jam over the years, so I really hope that we get to see that at some point.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a particular fan of them above other styles or artists, but just genuine, authentic rock. I think the Super Bowl stage deserves to see.
Yeah. They're my dad's favorite band, so you know I grew up listening to them, so I love them. Yeah.
Did your dad hurdle as well? Do you have an athletic family background?
No, my dad, he would do triathlons and Ironmans and stuff. So I have the running gene in me, but you know he was more of a distance runner. Yeah.
So what drew you to getting started with the hurdles on road to becoming one of the fastest to ever do it?
It's actually funny. I started the hurdles in 8th grade in indoor season because I noticed that was the first event. So if I could do it, I could go home early. So I started doing it so I could leave the meets early.
Yeah.
But then I started getting pretty good at it, so I started to enjoy it more, and from there it just took off. You know?
And that's not to say that you even did only the hurdles, because you also ended up taking on the high jump a few times throughout your high school career, not to mention the 400 hurdles, which is obviously later in the meets. So was it kind of just starting it out to see how it went, and then you eventually developed a love for the greater, wider sport?
Yeah. Well, once I started getting good at hurdles, I started to love the sport even more. And then my coach he always saw me as a versatile athlete, so he'd throw me in any event that he wanted just so I could score points. You know, I even had a couple pole vaults in there just so I can get points for the team. You know, wasn't very good at it, but you know, I've done so many different events, you know, it's really made me appreciate the sport even more.
So when we think of you as a hurdler, right, what is probably the most far-fetched event that you've done that people would probably not expect when they think of a hurdler that you've done?
Let me think. I don't know.
I mean, you mentioned pole vault.
Yeah, probably pole vault. Maybe I did long jump. But I feel like those two could tie together.
Definitely. Yeah. I know I've thought about that before for hurdlers / horizontal jumpers because step patterns are so crucial there. If you're doing them both on the same day at the same meet, if you ever accidentally mix them up or something, if you take 5 steps when you're supposed to take 3, or if you just hurdle, especially imagine triple jump, right? You land off a hurdle, right, and then you do a hop, skip, and the next hurdle. It's wait, what?
Yeah.
That would totally be just some crazy TikTok idea. Not that I'm even on TikTok, but just one of those crazy ideas in my mind.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I actually did shot put this year once.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just so I could get the amount of meets in. Yeah,
Okay,
my coach
yeah.
just threw me in it. He threw me and my buddy in it, and we just we did awful, but it was fun.
Well, let's expand upon that
Yeah.
why, right? Because you were coming off of an injury to end your
Yeah.
indoor season that
Yeah.
held you out from states, so you had
Yeah.
to at least get that requirement to get you
Yeah.
ready to ramp back up for another state championship season.
Yeah.
But in that indoor season before you got injured, you had came in as the guy to watch after nobody really considered you
Yeah.
heading into your junior outdoor season. I'm putting this real into perspective, so bear with me. But you won states as a junior.
Yep.
That gave you that big chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
You dropped a 7.26, which got you to number 4 all time in the indoor
Yeah.
55 hurdles. And then the injury happened, cutting
Yeah.
your season short. So just
Yeah.
what was that like?
Yeah, it sucked. It really did. It wasn't even it happened during practice. So, I remember each week would go by and I'd talk to my coach about maybe trying to run this weekend or that weekend, and just, we'd always have to cut it short because I wasn't fully healed. So it sucked mentally more than the physical part, because I just wanted to run so bad. I wanted to try and do well at states indoor, but I didn't get that chance. So it sucked, but put that behind me.
At least you were able to fight your way to nationals to
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
chance to at least run a couple more indoor races over in Boston there.
Yeah, those were fun.
Yeah. But of course it wasn't that repeat state season that you were envisioning, and I could tell you were really hungry coming into the outdoor season, because you ended up not just getting that number 3 all time, but you hit the Section 1 record. Section 1 is Westchester, Putnam, and Sullivan, or Rockland, Sullivan, Section 9. I'm getting them nailed down, but either way, you hit that record, 1378 at sectionals.
Yeah.
You had gone barely below 14 last year, so you knew that you had something to build upon there, but to recover from that hamstring injury in not the greatest amount of time and show that you still had that fitness and strength and resolve there, just what was that like?
It was really hard. Just all the time I took, focusing on healing myself. It was kind of hard to get back into it. I remember at New York Relays, that was, I think, my first. My God. Opener.
How did of all meets that you were allowed to run at, that would probably be a hurdler's nightmare, because this year it was 30 degrees.
It was raining, it was wet, windy.
Our good friend and my co-announcer Taylor Macetta, she was freezing atop the bleachers. Still sending hindsight prayers to her on that, but back to New York Relays from your angle.
That was my opener meet, and I ran really bad, compared to my standards, and I was really disappointed. But just stuff like that, I use that as fuel to just get better. And that, I think if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have gone 13-7 at sections. It really motivated me to work even harder and just to get faster.
What have been some other motivating factors for you along the way, besides the times, besides the love that stuck with you ever since you were that 8th grader showing up one and done from the meets?
Well, obviously the injury, but my teammate John, he's our other hurdler.
Secular, right?
Yeah, John. Yeah.
He got second behind you there. At sections.
He came in from cross country, and he wanted to try hurdles, and he picked it up really quick, and it kind of spooked me a little bit. So I thought maybe this kid's gonna be a little better than me. So he definitely pushed me a lot harder. My teammates too, they're all so supportive. My coach, Coach Hal, he's probably the most supportive guy, most supportive coach I've ever met. And finally, just my family, they supported me the whole way. They never made me feel uncomfortable if I, wanted to do a meet or wasn't comfortable enough to do a meet. But all of that just motivated me to get better and get faster.
I think that speaks a lot to the atmosphere that's been fostered here at Bronxville. Those of you, when you think of Bronxville, you probably think it's just another NYC suburb. It's actually classified as a village, and you guys are one of these smaller schools in all of Westchester County, yet for some reason you guys happen to have some of the most competitive results at all levels. I mean, obviously you winning Feds last year, We already know about some of the legends like the Mary Canes through the years. Yeah. The guys won the 4x8 for Division II indoors. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Girls relays, can't forget about them. But what would you have to say about the competitive environment here at Bronxville?
Yeah, it's just, you know, everybody, whether it's like in sports or in school, they just want to be the best here. You know, like it's like crazy to see. You know, we started as such a small team, and then we won sections, and then it started just building from there, and everybody on the team wanted to win, and it was just so great to see that. You know, because I remember I joined the team in 7th grade. You know, that's the same year my coach joined, and you know, people kind of saw it as like a joke. You know, the girls team has always been good; they've always won, but the boys team, you know, we were on the rise, and nobody really believed that. And then we won sections for the first time, and everybody just hopped on that train, and you know, we just took it from there and just went with it. So it's been really cool to see, and it just shows the competitiveness, you know, that our school and our town has, I think.
On an individual level, did you see some of that in John once he started really taking the hurdle seriously?
100%, yeah. John comes to practice every day with it's like a killer look in his eye. It's like crazy. He's probably one of the hardest workers on the team, and you know, I can't wait to see what he does next year. You know, he's got big shoes to fill, you know, but I know he can, you know. So I'm going to be watching him and, you know, seeing what he does.
What's your mindset like when you show up to practice?
Yeah, my mindset, you know, I'm just happy to be there, you know, fooling around with the coaches, fooling around with the teammates, but you know, you got to work. So I come to practice, you know, I'm happy. Then, you know, got to do my workout, got to get better. You know, I go to practice every day trying to get just 1% better at whatever it is I'm focusing on. Yeah.
What would you say has been the biggest thing that you've gotten better at between junior and senior year retrospectively?
Probably my speed in between the hurdles, you know.
That was definitely one thing I wanted to cover, but go on about that.
Yeah. Like when I first started, you know, I wasn't the fastest, you know. So I really focused on my form over the hurdles, you know, so I can make up that loss in between them. But from this year and last year, you know, I really started working on my sprint form, you know, my top end speed, my acceleration out of the blocks, you know. You know, it's like there's so many little things that go into hurdling that, you know, people don't realize, but you know, every little thing matters in hurdling. So I think, yeah, definitely my speed in between the hurdles.
That's one thing that I always think about whenever I watch a men's 110 meter hurdles, whether it be Grant Holloway, even if he hasn't been winning in a few races this year, he's obviously got a lot of speed. Trey Cunningham, he's been one of the best hurdlers on the entire scene this year, and you see what he did in those hundreds in Grand Slam track. He was the fastest over the hurdles or without.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
How much would you say each week you spend in a typical practice setting on hurdle drills versus speed?
Yeah, okay. It's mainly speed, you know, like sprints and acceleration. Probably hurdle once or twice a week. And I do the drills every day just so I can keep that muscle memory. So like I'll do step overs and, you know, like trail leg, lead leg stuff. But I'm only hurdling once or twice a week. Yeah.
Yet you've still earned quite the recognition as a sprinter. I believe if I read your bio correctly and remember the award correctly, you are the American Dairy Male Sprinter of the Year for all that you've done over the past calendar 365. So, I mean, what was that honor like for you? A very unique accolade to have.
It was really cool, especially because I was up against Quincy in that award. But the only reason I got that is because of my school and my teammates. You know, it was like a voting thing. So, you know, every day I'd have teachers coming up to me and, you know, like classmates coming up to me saying like, oh, I voted for you like 5 times last night, you know, like you're gonna, like, I hope you win. And it was just really cool when I ended up eventually winning. Like, it just felt like I had the whole town like on my back, you know, the whole town voting for me. And it was so rewarding, you know. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Not all awards like that are strictly voters' choice, and that's not to nullify your accomplishment. That is simply to give me a greater platform to call on meet organizers around the world. We need a Bronxville versus Bullis dual meet. Book it right now. Get the dog pound in here. I don't know, do you guys have a name for your student section? I don't want to say Broncos country because that's a bit of a meme.
I mean, it's just the Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos versus the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I mean, does it get any better than that?
Yeah. I mean, I'd be up for it. You know.
Hey, Quincy, you versus Quincy in the 400-meter hurdles. I would love to see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like he'd be pretty good at that. You know, give him a couple weeks to learn.
Yeah, he has a long enough stride. They're only 36 in. This guy is 33 right now. I had to lower it a bit so we could see home of the Broncos. It's about framing for all of you aspiring podcasters out there. But yeah, that'd be a fun thing to see. I mean, you hit 55 for second in states last year when you did the double in that event. So it's not as though you're incapable of hanging with the man Quincy Wilson.
Yeah.
It's funny. So this episode may be up right around the time of USA's, but it was just announced earlier today that Quincy Hall is not running the 400, and there's no certainty of Michael Norman status. So, in my opinion, Quincy Wilson has a legitimate shot to make the men's team this year.
Yeah, what he's doing is just incredible. It's like it's so crazy. Like I can't believe it. Every time I see him like pop up on my Instagram, like, oh, he ran 43. Like it's like I don't believe it. It's crazy.
I know. I was on the mic when he split his 43, which is another thing that I can't believe. I think about that race all the time because it was just so much happening at once. I had my two co-commentators, Phil and Sean, and we were just going crazy. The whole stadium was going crazy. Kingston College, they ran the second fastest pen time ever. There's just so much to track and field, and I think that just adds to the appreciation that we can have for a sport like it that can give us so many different outcomes. Because coming off of that 1378, right, you were poised for a great matchup that you had been itching for all season with Cameron Ingram, who won the indoor state title by breaking the state record in the process along that season. And you hadn't got to race him all season, and that was going to be the big opportunity, but what happened?
Yeah, you know, I think I just focused so much on healing my other hammy that, you know, my other one, it kind of got imbalanced. And so went over the first hurdle and I felt a little pop. And when I landed, I tried to, you know, take another step and I just couldn't. So I kind of just fell over, you know. Yeah, it sucked, but, you know.
It seems like a lot of immediate disappointment, right, whenever something like that happens. But for me, I thought about this when I was coming up with the idea for the Westchester Tour of who I'd want to include, because what this Westchester Tour is, I've made a day trip a couple hours south from Saratoga Springs and chatted up with some of the best of Section 1 with all the time that I got on my hands. So I was definitely thinking of you because around the time I actually had a silly accident where I pulled my own hammy, and I was thinking like, man, I was like one day from running an exhibition meet and I was in perfect shape to PR. I did a pre-meet session. Speed felt so effortless. I was there.
Yeah.
And then life got in the way.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's moments like that that allow us to look in the mirror and be more proud of how far we've come leading up to that point.
Yeah. Like when it happened, you know, I was sad at first, like when I was at the track, and then I got home. And it's funny, I actually had a performance that night. We have this thing called Baccalaureate where like all the seniors get to play or like do like sing or play music. And
like a talent show?
Yeah, it's like a talent show, and I'm in a band, so we played, and you know, it sucked at first, but I just put it behind me. And you know, there's so much more than just, you know, one little race. You know, I have so much more ahead of me. I get 4 years to run for UConn, which I'm just so excited about. And I'm going to use that as fuel to the fire, you know. I just can't wait.
Yeah, it's the unfinished business mentality, right? There's also a lot of other New York State hurdlers, not just in recent, but even further back, that have gone to UConn. Jordan Quinn, he was winning states when you were just coming up as a sophomore and junior. And you got one of our other sectional record holders, Verl Jackson, a guy who I know personally. I did a speed session with him a few years ago, but he went to Schenectady. He was an All-American hurdler at UConn, both in the 110s and the 400 hurdles. He was good at both. So you're going to be following along a great legacy of hurdlers. What would you say, if anything, that you'd hope to add to that legacy like you have here at Bronxville?
Yeah, I want to leave an impact when I'm there. You know, I want to put my name on the board, you know. I just want to be able to contribute to the team in conference and just, you know, show my worth when I get there, you know. I'm not like, I don't want to just be another athlete that they recruited that, you know, is on the team but isn't really helping that much, you know.
What are some ways that you're trying to prepare yourself for that adjustment? That's a huge thing we always talk about. not just for athletes, but for students in general?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be weird running with like the best of the best. You know, it's
Big East,
I'm
baby.
a little, yeah, Big East, baby. I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited. You know, I run like my friend Davis. He's our 400 hurdler.
Patterson, yeah.
Our 400 runner. You know, I run with him, and you know, I might be faster than him over hurdles, but he's faster than me in the open stuff. So
yeah,
running
he's a
with
sub
him,
50 guy.
yeah, he's quick. You know, running with him, you know, it keeps me humble, and you know, I think that's definitely prepared me for, you know, running with the guys at UConn. But you know, I'm ready to get there and get going. Yeah.
I got to give Davis a shout out. I've yet to meet him in person, but I bring this up almost every race I have announced of his. How at States last year, right when it was a hailstorm, his heat of the 400 was still out there.
Yeah.
He won the hail heat of the 400. He is tough as nails.
Yeah, it's impressive. Yeah. He came off a back injury and came and ran.
Oh my gosh,
again,
that's the worst for sprinters. I remember it was like Noah Lyles describing the end of his American record 200.
Yeah. No, he's tough. Yeah, he was one of our best athletes. Yeah.
Yeah, class of 2025 will be sorely missed here at BXV.
Yeah.
But you know, you said you got your band. Do you plan on sticking with music as you go into college?
Yeah, I definitely want to stick with playing the drums. You know, I kind of do it just to de-stress sometimes or let out some energy. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just really fun. I love doing it. I've been doing it for a while now. I can't remember when I started, but yeah, definitely sticking with it.
Yeah. If you cannot fit your drum set in your dorm, definitely make sure to seek out the practice facilities. I know when I was at Syracuse, I paid a lot of practice trips to the music school. I wasn't even a music student. I had some friends that got me in the loop to get myself a little practice key. It was fun because I really don't like playing the trumpet with a mute unless I have to.
I'll definitely look out for that.
Yeah. So, you know, we're in the midst of summer. Have you been doing any workouts or just focusing on recovery, relaxing like you said before?
It's mainly been recovery. Yeah. You know, I'm like 2 or 3 weeks out from getting back into it. So, you know, just been slowly taking each step by step to make sure I'm fully healed when I get back to competing.
I'm going to flash it back to a point you made earlier about the other hamstring because yesterday, the day before this recording, I did a racing workout as sort of another building step back to my peak fitness, which I still feel much of, but when I was actually putting in moderate efforts, it was weird. I felt my right hamstring, the one that I didn't injure, it was a little, it's not susceptible, so to speak, because, you know, when you first start doing that speed work, you're going to feel it at the beginning of the season. But it's just more so like, okay, it's awake again, because it's that's that first week of me going up the stairs, literally inchworming myself up with my right leg as my plant leg. So it's all coming back.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Yeah. Now, the bigger adjustment for an athlete like you, from 39 to 42.
Yeah.
When you were in high school, when you were healthy, did you ever take any cracks at that height?
A couple times, yeah. You know, be going over the 39s, and then you'll be like, you know, try the 42s, and then, you know, they're really hard, so you just put them back. But, you know, I've been told a lot by, you know, hurdlers that I met that are in college, and even, you know, Dylan Beard. I did a track camp with him.
Oh, nice.
You know, they just tell me that, you know, first year you're probably going to suck a little bit because, you know, it's just a big adjustment. But then, like, once you're in a race setting, it's going to feel no different. So, you know, I'm a little nervous, but, you know, I'm ready to make that adjustment.
The biggest challenge as an outsider that I see whenever you hit a hurdle is keeping your momentum going when you only have so much time to regather before the next hurdle. As someone, I mean, you would not be a hurdler if you have not clipped a hurdle. Yeah. As someone who has gone through that, what's your biggest key in that type of moment?
Just get up and keep going. You know, can't feel bad for yourself. You know, when you clip a hurdle, you just gotta keep pushing through. You know, keep your momentum, the power. You know, I clip hurdles all the time. You know, you can't focus on that. You just gotta focus on finishing the race.
That being said, how difficult is it to minimize that room for error? Because you don't want to just fly over the hurdles because there goes all those decimals.
Yeah, it's odd. I don't know. It's really weird. Like in a race, I just think you're so focused and you're so dialed in that you don't really think about it. Like when I step into the blocks, like there's literally nothing in my mind except like win, you know, like win, win, win. So when I'm going over the hurdles, I don't really think about it that often. It's really in practice, I really focus on, you know, how much height am I getting over it? You know, am I getting too much height? Am I getting too little height? You know, it's crazy. And then all that translates to the race.
Were those some aspects that you were working on heavy at the Dylan Beard camp?
Yeah, it was that and like form and, you know, like quick steps in between. Yeah, it was at the Armory. It's they do it every year, I think. It's like Armory track and field.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of the Instagram stories. Shout out Armory NYC for all that great stuff. I'm interested to know, because again, we're approaching USA's, and Team USA has been pretty notorious for putting together these little things called sweeps at global championships. So, I mean, whoever the team is, I mean, what would you say percentage-wise is that Team USA does that again at Tokyo this year?
I don't know, pretty high, probably. I think Team USA has the best track athletes like in the world. So, you know, I think the percentage is pretty high.
I'm going to give it, I'll give it a 60%. Yeah. Obviously, Grant Holloway, we've yet to see his best hurdling. Yeah. Trey Cunningham's been doing well. There's Freddie Crittenden. Yeah. You mentioned Dylan Beard. Yeah. Of course, there's others from other nations, and many whom I'll probably forget, but you've got Rashid Broadbell. He's dangerous when he's healthy. He's dealt with injury hell for all that I've seen. Well, you've also got the Frenchman Sasha Zoya, who's had a bunch of World Junior records. It's really an underrated event that you know, I feel like more people should look forward to, because it is one of the most exciting events to watch from from a raw perspective.
Yeah, it's such like a cool event. I remember during the Olympics, like I sat on the couch all day just waiting for like the prelims and the semifinals and the finals, and like just watching that was so cool, you know. Yeah, it's such an exciting event. Not only just to watch, but like even just like when I'm running it, it's like so exciting.
Who would you say is the men's 110 hurdles GOAT? You've obviously got Grant Holloway with all his championship experience, but there's Aries Merritt with the world record. Who do you think it is at this stage of the game?
It's close, you know, like, you know.
I specified 110 because if I said high hurdles period, it would be Grant with the 60.
I was going to bring that up. You know, he's like undefeated in the 160 to pass like however long.
I think 11 years now?
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy. You know, I think Grant gets the world record, which I think he's capable of. I think he'll be the GOAT. For right now, I'll give it to Aries Merritt, you know.
Yeah. Grant, if you're seeing this, use this as motivation. And all other Team USA hurdlers or outside threats looking in, use this as motivation. We've already talked a lot about your motivation and whatnot. What are some of your big goals other than just making an impact at UConn, being more than just another athlete? Do you have any championship aspirations?
I want to go and I want to, like, you know, win, place at conference, obviously. You know, obviously, you know, school record's always there. You know, that's always in the back of my mind, you know, breaking the school record. But yeah, just like running good times. I want to see if I can break 14 over the 42s, which, you know, I think I'm capable of. I'm on the shorter side of hurdlers, so, you know, it's going to be pretty tough, but I think I can do it.
Yeah. Have you ever played basketball? I'm curious.
I've tried, yeah.
Okay. There's that concept of basketball where you have to play taller than you are on the court. I know if I were to play basketball, that would have to be something I embody.
Yeah.
I know I used to run a little hunched over, so ever since high school I had to learn how to actually run tall, so that's definitely an important thing to consider.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But another thing, right, is that when you probably stepped in as a youngster for Bronxville, you probably had a lot of those same goals, like make it to states, win sections. Obviously, team goal, that's one you mentioned, has been there for a long time. So how did you kind of stay committed to that goal as you continued to go through the hard process?
Yeah, it was just amazing. You know, I remember I didn't even think like winning leagues was possible, and then that happened, and then the next year I won sections. And then the next year that same year I qualified for states, and I came one place short of placing. And I think that's when I really locked in. I was like, all right, I wanna be like great. I wanna be one of the best. And after that year, I just remember, you know, I played football. I used to love football. When people used to ask, I'd be like, yeah, football is my main sport, but I run track. You know, after that year, I'd be like, yeah, I'm a track athlete. You know, I do football in the fall, but I'm a track athlete. But yeah, after that, after missing a place by one spot. That was my sophomore year. I was just gunning for that top spot, and I did that my junior year. And it was just the progression, just looking back at it now, it's crazy to think about.
And at States, once you arrived at that moment to fulfill all of that, your junior year, that Federation final was epic. I know you sent me a picture of just how close that lean was. It was 300ths of a second, but just what a great race that was with you and Tristan Brown and Baldwin there. Yeah, it was an amazing race. I remember going into it, he had a faster time than me in the prelims, and I was really nervous. You know, when I raced the 110, I like being in the middle lane. I like being in lane 4, and you know, he had the faster time, so he was in lane 4. And I remember telling that to my dad, and he was just like, he told me like, it doesn't matter, you know, just focus on the lane that you're in, you know, use that, you know, he got the lane that you wanted, so use that and use that as fuel to run faster. And, you know, I always tell my coach this, I always run faster when I'm around faster people. So, you know, he pushed me to beat him, you know. It's weird. It's weird and crazy to think of, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. If this washed-up athlete who has never competed collegiately had any advice to offer you, do not forget that piece right there.
Yeah.
I run faster with faster people around me. That's definitely going to help you in college.
Yeah.
And the fact that you ran 13:78 with your closest competitor being your own teammate, I think just really adds to the volume of what you've done.
Yeah. It was amazing.
As a predominant football guy, I think you'll appreciate this stat line too. You had the FAT record for Section 1, but back when the distance was still 120 yards, a guy by the name of Art Monk at White Plains ended up setting the 13.5 hand time record. That's a name that I especially appreciate as a fan of the now Washington Commanders, but he won 3 Super Bowls with the then Washington Redskins. So the fact that you are now in company with a 3-time Super Bowl champion, what does that mean?
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. I remember my coach told me that one day, and I was like, "Whoa, that's so weird." Like that, like I don't know. It's amazing. You know.
For other fans of more mainstream sports like football that may not see that connection to track and field, what would you have to say to them about the sport?
Yeah, it's just, you know, when they're watching football, you know, and they say like, "Whoa, that guy's like really fast," like Tyreek Hill, for example. Like, he's fast, but like that's football speed. There's a big difference from football speed and track speed. You know, like I know he's always calling out Noah Lyles. And you know, my friends joke about it. You know, they're like, "Oh yeah, Noah Lyles would beat him," and they know it gets on they say like Tyreek Hill would beat him, and it gets on my nerves a little bit because like, you know, I think Noah would absolutely crush him because it's just such a big difference.
I give Tyreek credit for going 10.1, but Noah Lyles opened in 10 flat, and it wasn't even that. He had a terrible start and still ran faster than Tyreek Hill. So for a 100-meter discussion, that all but settles that. Maybe 60 at this stage of the game, maybe 40 in cleats, but again, it's that difference between track and football speed, and again, that speed that you really summit out of yourself in between the barriers. So I think you're in a great spot right now, especially because now you don't have that football obligation. You don't have anything to worry about getting ready for come August and September. You could just enjoy your final month here. So what are some plans you have while you're still in Westchester?
I'm actually going to Europe in a couple days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, me and my 2 friends, we're like really big F1 fans, so we're going to an F1 race. Yeah, so that's going to be really fun. And then when I get back, I'm just going to, you know, hang out with my family and my friends until I leave, you know. Just spend time with them, you know, just one last summer before college.
Yeah. Where in Europe is the F1 race?
It's in Belgium.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's Spa, so it's,
I'm really intrigued by that because I know a couple of my favorite athletes. Do you know the Bourlet brothers?
I think so.
They were, oh man, well, Dylan's still racing, the youngest of the 3, but Jonathan and Kevin, the twins, they had been a part of the Belgium 4x4 for years and years. They had gone to 5 Olympic Games dating back to Beijing all the way up to Paris, and they even set a national record in their last race. Well, Jonathan was injured, but Kevin was part of it, and they've actually, in their free time, done some F1 car racing of their own. So who knows? You may run into some former track and field legends.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Hopefully.
That'd be cool. Have you ever been to Europe before?
No. I've it's like my first time out of the country, so you know.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited.
There you go, man. Hey, that's going to be fun. I know you said you've been getting some chances to soak up the city right on our doorstep, so it's been a fun summer.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share for today?
I don't think so. You know, just keep working hard. You know, all the hardships that happen, just use that as fuel. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys may have to wait just a little bit longer to see Wyatt's return to the track, but when it comes, do not be surprised to see some fireworks. Whatever happens, man, it's been a pleasure having you on In Full Stride. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me.